Actually, after what happened. He really does look like Mata. So Aatrox is already locked in for Cloud9. I don't believe that Cloud9 have a tendency to flex the Aatrox, so right now they are hovering Xin Zhao. I do not think that you want to lock in your two champions, go to the second ban phase, and then risk junglers getting pinched with Nocturne already being banned away. And oh, never mind, they actually didn't lock in Talia, they locked in Gragas. Okay. Okay. Braum locked in now for Cloud9. Afreeca hovering Xayah, and this can induce a Rakan ban in the second ban phase. Or actually, no, it can. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Alistar's already locked in. Ryze now being banned away by Afreeca. Maybe Cloud9 continues to try to further pinch top laners. That is the legitimate thought process here, but instead it looks like they are focusing on the mid lane matchup, but that's a little peculiar given that Afreeca is already going to have counterpick available. Maybe the Nocturne ban is why they're focusing on the Galio. Nocturne Paranoia is able to stop Galio's ultimate. It's a very, very surface level analysis. Truthfully, I don't think that it has any merit, but I am just bringing it up because I know that it's in the minds of some people. Lissandra being banned away, and Afreeca locking in Victor, and this could actually make Cloud9 think that the Victor is mid. I do believe this is the series where top lane Victor debuted, and so perhaps we actually see a anti-Victor mid lane pick picked up here. That's really weird. It's LeBlanc. Victor does tend to fare relatively well into LeBlanc, so not entirely sure why that was so quickly picked up by Cloud9. LeBlanc is in very strong standing right now, and you just see how quickly Afreeca was to lock in the Cossidon. So let's talk about some stuff. So top lane is basically non-consensual sex. Victor is able to just completely lay waste to Aatrox, even though it's a ranged matchup. Due to how Victor's Q works, it makes it very difficult for Aatrox to actually trade against him. Once Victor gets the speed boost from his Q, Aatrox cannot actually approach the matchup the same way that he can against like a Ryze or a Jace or a similar AP champion, or just a ranged champion up in top lane. Another thing is that Victor being able to itemize into the Iceborne Gauntlet is going to have a lot of value against the Xin Zhao, the Aatrox, and the Lucian. So all in all, it's just a very, very good matchup for Afreeca up in top lane. Now, because Victor is self-sustaining, normally Aatrox is relatively able to be self-sustaining. This means that Gragas has all the freedom in the world to commit to protecting the bottom right and mid side of the map. So Gragas normally would like to probably play on the left-hand side of the map. So if we cut Summoner's Rift up and you have Gragas' golems, his red, and his wraiths right here, this color's actually really bad. Let me just swap colors. So normally Gragas has his red and his wraiths, right? And he would like to be in this side of the map, especially if his top laner needs assistance and then his mid laner. Because Victor is able to quite literally shove Aatrox's shit in, and he's one of the few champions in the game that can actually do that right now, Gragas is able to commit all of his attention towards mid lane and bottom lane, which is what he wants to be doing for the Xayah and the Cossidon, because Cossidon just needs to be escorted. Cossidon already has a counter matchup in mid lane against the LeBlanc, so far everything is going pretty good. Xin Zhao is going to be forced to play on the side of the map where Spirit's Gragas should be playing, and then down in bottom lane, Sneaky and Zeyzal need to accelerate ahead because inherently the scaling for Afreeca's Freaks is vastly superior than Cloud9's. So now we're going to get into the game and see what ends up happening here. Right now, Afreeca's draft is really good. It really is on Spirit to completely fumble this, or just the laners to be completely boosted bonobos and fail to do anything. But it is near impossible for Cloud9 if this game goes towards the mid-game. If Afreeca is even remotely even, then it's so difficult for Cloud9 to actually figure out ways to get through Afreeca. 5-point opening for both teams, so no one wanting to get aggressive in the slightest. I would actually imagine that Xin Zhao would benefit more from getting aggressive early on in order to pinch and restrict jungler vision. I think that would be better for him so that he's able to mix up some of his paths due to the fact that, in this case, he does actually have some sort of a desire to help out Aatrox up in top lane. I'm just getting, looks like a little bit of a look at the Victor versus Aatrox matchup. I'm sure that the observer and maybe the casters as well have a lot to talk about because it is, I believe, the debut of this matchup up in top lane. Sven with the straight solo Q game. Wait, what? Hold on, wait. Wait, what? Hold on. What? 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 What just happened? Wait. What just happened? I need the replay. What the fuck is that word? Wait.
What? Hello.
No, I want to see why Kostanin flashed. Show me, observer. You degenerate. I want to see why he flashed. Can I see? They never show? You don't flash just because LeBlanc throws down a chain. You flash once you see Xin Zhao or... Like, alright, so here's how this works, okay? LeBlanc latches her chain on you. You can get into a position where you know by the time the chain's gonna, like, lock, whether or not you need to flash. Like, you can see Xin or you can't see Xin. So, you don't just flash. What? Alright, so let me give you the 30,000 foot view picture here, alright? If he doesn't flash and Sven goes for that gank or waits in the brush or something and costs it, Sven's route of this into this is not good against what Spirit was actually doing. This early game pathing choice I actually think is quite poor. We see what Spirit's doing. He just starts on. Wait. All right. So Spirit starts on his blue side jungle. Okay. They have wards. They have respected. You know, they have wards for each other. Wait. They just saw Xin. The fuck are you doing? How do you see the jungler? He saw Xin Zhao. He saw Xin and still let himself get put in a position where he might need to flash because he's such a good player. Wow, Curry, you're so good. You're so good at this game. Oh my god, that Cloud9, they really boomed him. What a completely boosted fucking play. Oh my Christ almighty. Korea's last hope, by the way. They fucking boomed him so good. What a terrible opening by Svenskeren, though, but it ends up getting rewarded because Kura's such a good player. What a good player. He's not even... Oh, man. Doesn't even matter. Alright. Yeah, he pushed too much level 1 He's mismanaging the lane. He's playing very poorly. Alright. Oh, this is really good counter gank by Spirit. Why is Kassadin teleporting? What? How deep is Jack's pockets? We know about Steve, but look. What the fuck is this? This is so bad. This is paid by Jack. What the fuck? Wait, Kassadin's just so far behind. Afreeca, alright, so bottom lane for Afreeca and top lane are just doing so good right now. But it doesn't even matter because Kuro's boosted in mid. He's actually doing the one thing that he's known for not doing. Which is basically being a liability. Okay, they're rotating up Jensen, sorry. Alright. They kill Keen. That was a really, really clean play. Because Kuro's so far behind in mid. Wait. This is like a really big problem. So let me show you why this is such a big problem, okay? So what's gonna happen here is maybe one of these melee minions die. And so what ends up happening is it's going to be 5, 6, 1. So they're going to have 5 melees, 6 spellcasters, 1 cannon. This is able to create a permafreeze. So right now, if Svenskeren actually just goes into the brush, he doesn't have an obligation to be anywhere because bottom lane's shoving in and then it's going to get bounced back by Xayah. And you know that Tushin just recalled, so Tushin's going to get the vision control on the right-hand side of the map. And then you know that Kassadin is too much of a fucking bitch to want to actually push out the lane. So I think that what you end up doing here is because you know that Keen has teleport, you look to Bengi Keen. So I think Svenskeren's best play would actually just to be to go into one of the top lane brushes and then wait, and then have Licorice come all the way back up. So what I'm asking Sven to do at this point is to wait like literally 45 seconds. Because Keen has an obligation to break the permafreeze that is able to be put down by Licorice. And if Gragas doesn't come up to top lane and Victor just immediately dies again, because Licorice has flash and Sven doesn't actually needs it if he gets the surprise leap onto him. I think in this case you have opportunity to blow the game wide open because Jensen is already far enough ahead in mid lane to hold his own, and then after the top lane gank, you know that Scuttle Crab's coming up, so you can just you can go into that. I think that would actually be a lot better than anything. No, it's not awful, because what happens is that you wait in the brush, and then you have Licorice come back to lane, take a quote-unquote bad trade. And then if Keen shoves the lane in with a laser or Qs or something, then it gives over lane control. And then what ends up happening is Svenskeren just goes down and gets Scuttle Crab. If you just recall, like, recalling is not horrendous, it's not bad because the lane's already going to push into Licorice, which is like fine, but you have an opportunity to completely just decimate top lane. So the thing that I'm suggesting is a little bit riskier, so it's like low risk, high reward, and then the other option of just recalling and pathing standard is low risk, no reward, basically. Sven hadn't backed yet, and the risk of Spirit coming back top would mean a bad 2v2. Spirit's not incentivized to go top. Unless you mean to help assist Keen push the wave in. These parts get frustrating in solo queue, because for me to even talk about the thing that I'm talking about, I have to first explain to some of you why it is the way that it is. Which is really annoying. Like, it's very tilting, actually. Top wave pushes back because of the proximity of the minions. See these minions? These minions won't get killed by these minions, and this wave coming in is going to crash and be within turret range. So these minions pile up with the minions that leave Nexus, and then the next the next wave that leaves Nexus, and it pushes back into Cloud9, which is pretty good. One of the reasons that I guess that you could make the argument of not just having, like, so Sven could just go like this, wait in the brush, or he can go like this. And then depending on the speed at which Victor pushes, if Victor's pushing slow, he can go down, get the Scuttle Crab, come right back up to top. And then Victor's left in this awkward spot where his minions are going to push into Licorice, but he can't actually get vision on his own. So it drags Spirit up to top lane, and then it can just actually be a match gank. There's a lot of different things that can happen right now on top. So the lane is actually, it's pushing into Keen, but Keen's playing it really, really, really safe. So the Gambit would have not gone over well because of how Keen was playing it. You're failing to understand that Gragas being top right now is really bad for his team. So it doesn't matter if your argument is that Gragas escorts Keen. Okay. So, with the advantage that they have in mid lane, and now the advantages that they're going to be able to accrue in bottom lane, Cloud9's actually looking like they're in a really, really good spot. The reason that it's bad for Gragas to help break the freeze up in top lane is because he's committing time to a lane that should normally be self-sustaining and self-efficient. And the other problem is that he's on the side of a map that he doesn't want to be on. So any time that he's... Basically, he's investing time into keeping... I don't even know how to fucking explain this, man. It's so annoying. I don't know how to explain this without you already understanding certain parts. Like, the house's foundation is rotten, right? Like, it's like paying too much money to win a bid. Fuck, I don't know, God. The house analogy is like the foundation's rotten. The fact that something that should have already been fine and stable is having problems, it should be able to get back to a stable point on its own because of the natural advantage. But the reality is that it's detracting from the area of focus that you originally wanted to have. Yeah, you're spending resources where you shouldn't have to. Or you're spending too much money to win a bid. Okay, I'll give you a DBZ analogy. It would be like trying to make Krillin, like, or no. Yeah, it's investing time into Krillin. Krillin's, like, it's not a worthwhile investment. It's not a worthwhile enough investment. Like, you're trying to make Krillin stronger when the person that he's fighting against doesn't need to be stronger to beat them. Even though the potential freeze thing is like a possibility, Keen can play in a manner that's really safe to avoid the gank. Like I already said, the way that Keen played the lane when he came back to the lane, the gambit that Sven had as a possibility for like a regank would have failed. Which is why it's a gambit. Yeah, sunk cost, I guess. Yeah, sunk cost fallacy. Or sunk, yeah, not fallacy? Sunk cost? No, I'm not missing the game. Spirit ends up stealing away the blue, but it's not as good. Oh. Why is he R'ing into the wave? Like, you just saw LeBlanc, and you know that your jungler successfully stole the blue. So why do you want to shove the wave fast? So what is the thought process here? You know that your jungler just stole the fucking blue buff, which means that the enemy mid laner has nowhere to go. You know that your top laner has Aatrox underneath the turret. You know that your jungler just came from the exact area that LeBlanc would have to path to in order to relieve pressure against Keen, but you also know that Keen wants to recall as is due to his mana. Why are you not wanting to just keep the lane right in front of your turret and last hit it? You have teleport coming up, which means that any assault that Jensen puts on you directly underneath your turret is mitigated by the fact that you have teleport and you can return to the lane. Why are you rift walking into a group of minions? Why are you so boosted? Absolutely disgusting play. Like, originally I thought the Dade award would be the world's top 20 list, but I think Kuro is getting it this game alone. So now at this point, like every single lane is losing for Afreeca, and Spirit hasn't been able to actually play a fair game. And what I mean by that is Spirit's opening route would have actually beat Sven's opening route if they were allowed to play a fair game. Kuro ends up feeding away a kill to Jensen, and then Kuro teleports up to top lane, acquires or accomplishes absolutely nothing. Keen ends up, I mean, the counter gank by Spirit was really good in that initial thing. Keen ends up getting shoved in, and then Kassadin can't do anything against the roam, and Keen ends up dying to the Jensen play with Svenskeren. So Spirit hasn't been able to play a standard jungle game because all three of his lanes, even when they get some sort of advantage going for them, they're managing to blow it. Although Keen's, I guess I fault him less for, more so Kuro's inability to play mid lane this game is actually causing a lot of trouble. Because what's happening is it's so difficult because Jensen is just out playing so much better than Kuro this game. And Kuro's dropping the ball really hard. It's so difficult for anyone to establish any sort of control around mid, and that's making it so hard for Spirit to maneuver and go around the map. And so when mid lane constantly has perma priority and stuff, makes it so hard. But Kuro being so far behind is making it a lot more difficult for Keen and Spirit. Now they're looking to get Mountain Drake. Yeah, the laners for Afreeca are all dropping the ball, except for Keen. Right now... I mean, I don't understand. That looks like miscommunication or something. Like, he just used his Rift Walk, but then Spirit R's. I don't know why Spirit R's. I do like that Kramer and Tushin had priority at least on the swap. They already acknowledged that they need to concede bottom lane because they were so far behind on it. Oh, he did. Yeah, he did actually fail that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's really bad. I didn't notice that with the speed. Okay, that's actually really sad. But nonetheless, Kuro's follow-up looks like miscommunication. Okay. Ooh, that was just one more auto attack. I don't know why they wasted. I don't know why they wasted the proximity gold. That's really strange. So right now, Afreeca's down with a scaling composition, but they're down way more than they should be. Keen, though, with that movement speed from the Victor Hex Core upgrade, able to chase down Licorice, get his flash away from him. And Afreeca right now, they're just trying to trade turrets. And I think that trading turrets at this point in the game is okay. The issue, though, is that because of the way that they're trading turrets, like initially they trade top for bottom, and now they're trading bottom for top. The issue is that now this means that Cloud9's in close proximity to the major neutral, which is the Herald. And the Herald is going to enable Cloud9 to do a lot of things and apply a lot of pressure to Afreeca. Normally, what Afreeca's probably thinking here is that if we can open up the map really, really fast and prevent the opponent from getting Herald, but obviously they can't prevent the opponent from getting Herald. But for, hypothetically speaking, if you're Afreeca and you can open up top and bottom tier 1 turrets, and you can have the waves due to the level difference, so a lot of people don't know this, but if this team's cumulative level score, right, like right now, what is it? It's 27, okay, so right now, they have what, 46? Yeah, they have 46 levels, right? So this team has 46 levels, and what, 14, 32, 42. So this team has 42 levels. So because of the level difference, the minions for Cloud9 deal more damage. But a lot of people don't know this. Alright, so the waves push into Afreeca. So if you could have had top tier 1 and bottom tier 1 be raised, and then have the minions come into you, and then you eat them right here, and then you plant Victor in mid lane with the laser upgrade, and you can deny them getting Herald, so they can't actually crack mid tier 1, then you can slowly scale back up into the game using less control wards, so you're having to invest less gold into vision, and you're able to just play defensively and slowly try to recuperate and salvage the game state. So this is probably what Afreeca's thinking. The issue is that the Herald thing, due to how they traded turrets, like for instance, if they were just simply behind on tempo, like let's say that Cloud9 got here and Afreeca was recalled, and Cloud9 gets the turret, Cloud9 gets first recall, they go up into top lane, and Cloud9 gets to the turret faster, and then the bottom lane from Afreeca Freaks comes into top lane. If this happens, Afreeca Freaks' bottom lane is in close proximity to the Herald, and they can potentially contest or attempt denial of the Herald capture. If they do it like this and trade turrets, this would be really, really good for Afreeca. But because of how they trade top and bottom, and it means that Cloud9 ends up getting the Herald, this is really, really bad for Afreeca. Okay. So they end up actually trading top tier 2 economic turret. That's really good for Cloud9 because they're accelerating against a scaling comp. So any economic turrets are really important. I'm defining economic turrets as turrets that do not actually lead to the victory of a game, but rather just generate you gold. So due to the nature of Baron and the proximity to the top lane turrets, I always call these economic turrets. Because later on in the game, like 24, 25, 26, 27 minute mark, 30 minute mark, etc., this is where the enemy team is always going to be planting their carries because of the proximity to the major neutral objective, right? Obviously, I always talk about this in VOD reviews. The blue side jungle of a team is really important, and their ability to freeze it right behind the Gromp because, again, proximity to Baron. Objective turrets are the bottom lane turrets because these are the turrets that lead to the inhibitor that is furthest from Baron. thus creating opportunities that become available to you if the opposing team does not have teleport available, or if you have a split pusher, yada, yada, yada. So Cloud9 just got themselves the second economic turret in top lane, which is really good for accelerating, and it provides you better access often around the enemy team's red side jungle, which can be really, really important and good for trying to crack this turret because it provides you with additional flank opportunity that you normally don't have available to you. Use the Rift Herald, temporary pressure, Infernal Drake coming up in a minute and a half. I don't like that Cloud9 is still inside of the red side jungle, so let's take a look at something. So right here, they're going to clear the wave in mid lane, and you can see that Licorice is crashing the wave into Kassadin. They're in the red jungle, and then see these minions up in top, right? You see these red minions, and you see this minion wave that's leaving the Nexus. This means that this wave is actually going to come back into Cloud9. So hopefully they don't eat the wave, because if they don't eat the wave, then what ends up happening is this will slow push into them, and it'll get to this turret around the time that Dragon ends up being captured. So then Cloud9 has a really good reset, and they have a perfect place to go off the reset. Right here, so Jensen goes top lane, which is a pretty poor decision. The lane would have slowed, like you see 40 seconds, right? These minions need time to kill these minions, and then it'll be met by this wave and then the next wave, and we'll get to the turret. Licorice also has teleport, which means that Licorice can stay in bottom lane with control and priority, and then depending on if Afreeca try to contest the dragon, and there's a little bit of a stalemate, then Licorice can actually just use the teleport to go up to top lane and allocate the gold into himself. So I don't like that Jensen goes top, because he doesn't have a reason to go top, because it ends up just shoving a wave back into them. And now with this wave and this incoming wave and the distance that they have to travel, it builds up, and I think that it's really poor. But nonetheless, it looks like the Nayram is happening in mid lane. This is okay that Cloud9's playing for forward vision, but they shouldn't be looking to ever handshake a fight. They end up actually killing Kuro, which is really good for them. But they don't want to handshake any sort of fights that aren't just going to be decisive for them right now, because they just want to get themselves the Infernal Drake. You look at Lucian's AD. Infernal Drake is almost a pickaxe for him. Oh, actually, well, no, it's like almost 2 longswords. Right now, Cloud9 is just so far ahead. Oh, it was a longsword and a half, I guess, is what it ended up equating to. Wait, why did he just get so much AD? What just happened? Wait, what? What am I not getting about Lucian right now? He's at 187 AD. Now he's at 197? What am I missing here? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I don't know what his runes are. That's a good point. I don't know what his exact rune setup is. Coach, by the way. Coach, by the way. This is a really good spot for Cloud9. Afreeca should just actually be... I don't know what... I didn't see how big the minion wave is in bottom. I don't know how fast Keen's actually shoving it back. The weird thing here is that you know that the Infernal Drake just got killed. Like, okay, I like that he's hugging the right-hand side of the wall. Maybe he just did not expect all of the members of Cloud9 rather than just one of them. Because that's why he's hugging the right-hand side. That's the psychology behind it. You can see that he makes a point to hug the right side. And you would do this if you anticipate just Aatrox to come. Like, you can see, like, see his face? A lot of people don't know this as well. Wherever the face of a champion is where they were last clicking in a straight line. Okay? So just watch Victor's face. You can see where see this? He just clicked over here. He just clicked somewhere over here. Alright, and then it's gonna have a subtle turn. So he's clicking somewhere around here. Right? So his clicks were just here, he drags the mouse down, he clicks around here. So he's intending to hug the wall. I think that he only anticipated one member. He ends up dying. We saw another team do this. I think it was actually even a Korean team where a dragon had just died and they completely neglected the fact that someone obviously was in close proximity. At this point, it's so difficult for Cloud9 to actually fumble this game. Kassadin is basically at one item at 20 minutes. He's so far behind. Victor, when he goes Iceborne Gauntlet, generally he wants to be... Victor Iceborne Gauntlet is really similar to like a champion first iteming Magi. If they don't get ahead with it, and they don't get like level advantages and base scaling advantages over the opponent, it ends up feeling really, really bad. But if they're ahead, it feels really fucking good. The problem is that all of Keen's teammates are just so far behind, it just doesn't matter. I don't like that Cloud9 is forcing underneath the turret, even though they are super far ahead. I do just think that they could play this slower and more calculated. They end up getting the kill onto Tushin. They trade Svenskeren for it, and then they end up managing to kill Keen, and Aatrox only loses his ult. That was fucking really good by Jensen. That was so good by Jensen. Oh, that was very, very clean. The Naram. Kuro finally ends up getting there. It's just a little bit late. These fights are scary because if you fumble them, you give the opponent a window right back into the game. And I think with the advantage that Cloud9 had and the fact that they have Infernal and Mountain, they didn't need to do that. It ended up being good for them. And obviously Jensen with the pickoff right at the end there was super fantastic, but I don't think that it's something that you should actively be looking to do in favor of just baiting the opponent into you. Because Cloud9's so strong right now, and they have such good Baron treading capabilities, I think that you can just make Afreeca come out more. It's a risky play that worked out, yep. Good poke attempts by Jensen on the LeBlanc. Licorice now able to... I mean, he's impervious now to Keen's Victor. Aatrox is just too stable right now to be moved. Ocean Drake coming up. I do think that Cloud9 wants to completely ignore that and then capture it at 28 minutes and 50 seconds to prevent Elder from spawning. You don't need Elder to win the game if you're Cloud9. The opponent does need Elder to win the game. Really, really good. Coming off the Baron, looks like they're going to get a pick onto Tushin. Now they can just go right back onto the Baron. And when you're on the Baron here, you can just have Jensen basically stop everyone, which just seems like they're going to do. I like what Zazel's doing as well. He's sticking around, giving Jensen vision. That's a beautiful pick-off. This is a really, really well-orchestrated Baron by Cloud9. Very, very clean. They actually seem to know everything to do in that spot. Now they come top lane. And I like that they're going to get an economic inhibitor here. I don't think... You can't end the game off of this, but you can definitely blow the game wide open. They were escorting mid as well, and now they're going to back off. They're pooling so much gold. They just have to reset. They have a beautiful wave down in bottom. Sneaky better not go to it right away. Sneaky also better not go to the Ocean Drake right away. They're killing the Ocean a little bit early, but it's not the end of the world. I get so I will give them this. Taking the Ocean right now, they do have Baron buff. When you have Baron, Ocean isn't bad, and the reasoning for that is because normally, I said this in previous VOD reviews, Ocean's really, really strong if taken pre-10 minutes, and it can continue to be strong up until like 12 minutes-ish, right? At like 15 minutes plus, Ocean Drake is just a joke. It's basically an entirely useless dragon in almost every situation. The time in which it starts becoming powerful again is when you have the Baron buff. Because Baron, you want to be sieging, you want to be having stalemates where you try to chip off at turrets and whatnot. So by having the Ocean Drake coupled with the Baron buff, it makes it for a very, very strong combo. So even though I like taking it as, or I like normally taking the dragon as late as possible to prevent Elder, I think in this spot it's quite good pickup. That was fucking good by Jensen. Alright, and that's going to be the Nexus. Okay, so to recap, Cloud9 were outplaying Afreeca in everywhere that was important. Spirit did not get to play a fair early game, I will say that, for Afreeca. Jensen played phenomenally on the LeBlanc. I think that was very impressive. Sneaky and Zazel did very well on their own. Don't really know how Keen versus Licorice would normally turn out in this particular instance because of the variables that we just talked about, like Kuro, Spirit, not getting to play a fair game, the amount of pressure that Jensen was exerting. I think that the player of the game for Cloud9 was definitely Kuro. I think without him, the game definitely would not have been as easy. So that's pretty much it for game number 1.